question about the Big 12 fans. The Big 12 is about to like do a tap day, if you will. And if you don't know what tap day is, Google it as it pertains to Greek, old school Greek life, Black Greek life. You'd be glad you did. They're about to do a tap day thing on 4 universities to be new Big 12 members. Local school here, University of Cincinnati, which officially submitted its application today. UCF, University of Houston, and BYU.
Yeah.
So basically, even though those schools, like I said, the aforementioned UC, University of Cincinnati, sent out its application officially today, the Big 12 is like to those 4 schools, please come.
Yeah, oh, most definitely.
Please come.
Definitely.
Please come.
You know, in my eyes, they're some of the top, they're the top of well, the cream of the crop of the group of 5 conferences that are out there right now.
Yeah.
Yes. Please come. Not just that. What do we say? What do we talk about a lot when we talk about television deals? They're in great markets, especially talk about Cincinnati and Houston. Yes. Oh, yes. Please come.
And that's recruiting base. That's a future recruiting base.
You also said Central Florida, right?
Yep. Florida.
Where is that? That's
Orlando. It's Orlando. Yeah.
People are talking about UCF being what Florida State once was because of the amount of money that they have coming into this program right now. You add that coming over into
the big student body. That's one of the biggest student bodies in the country.
Body. Yes.
Yeah.
You transition that over into a Power 5 conference. I'm just saying. I know.
Go ahead. So I'm sorry, brother.
I was saying you're not getting back Oklahoma and Texas.
Correct.
But you're getting back a couple of pretty good programs there.
Yes. Yeah, and UCF's a sleeping. I don't want to call them sleeping giant because they've been at the mountaintop. Whether it's the bowl games or BCS, the New Year's 6 games in the past, BCS bowl games in the past, and the like. UC, Cincinnati has been there. They may well crash the playoffs, depending on how everything plays out.
Yeah.
Houston's a sleeping giant. BYU, we talked about brands. BYU is a huge brand.
Yeah.
They are. But my only concern, this is why I pissed off a lot of Big 12 fans. Even with those 4 strong football programs, they're strong football programs. They're not Oklahoma and Texas. Then again, who is Oklahoma and Texas? But the point what I'm saying with that is, when I talked about earlier, brands.
Yeah.
The only legit brand, take Oklahoma and Texas away. Your only brand is BYU.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned earlier UCF. Even though I wouldn't call them sleeping giant because they've been successful, in terms of putting them in a Power 5 with those resources at that school, that fertile recruiting ground, that track record of success, I'll give you that. That's an explosion waiting to happen.
Yeah. Because
the support, huge student body, the alumni base, it's in Orlando. It's, like I said, fertile recruiting area. Cincinnati, Luke Fickell coming from Ohio State, Ohio boy. He's building the defense. And he's making it almost like Ohio State light in terms of recruiting. You're about to move that into a Power 5. My only thing is this, though. When the networks come back around in 2025, when Oklahoma, Texas leaves, will they pay the Big 12 like a Power 5? Will Fox Sports, I know them and ESPN have part of the kitty and with the Big 12, but it's mainly a Fox property. Will Fox Sports look at the Big 12 minus Oklahoma, minus Texas, left with BYU, UCF, Oklahoma State and West Virginia. Would they look at them? I mean, it's not going to be near as much for Oklahoma and Texas, to be sure. But my only thing was, that's what I was trying to tell these Big 12 fans is, y'all be lucky to see, because they're getting paid, what, over 32, 35 million
Okay.
for school until 2025. They'd be lucky to see half that, in my opinion.
I'll give them 20 to 25 million. And the reason why I say that again is because, well, I mean, your half that is like 17 million, right? So 20 is not much further off that. This is why I said that 2025. The reason why I give them that at least is because of those major markets of Houston and Cincinnati and Orlando.
Right.
And those, of course, are enticing. But I said it before on the show, and I'll say it again. I'll even say it to the Big 12 fans' face. Hey, where y'all at? Big 12 fans?
They're here.
Hey, y'all there?
They're
Okay.
over our channel, yeah.
Yeah. Let me make sure y'all get this again, right? Even with Oklahoma and Texas, the Big 12 was still the 5th conference out of the Big 5 conferences in college football. Let's be real, right? And unless you were going to add the 72 Dolphins, the early 2000 New England Patriots, the 85 Bears, and say like the 80s Washington football team, that's the only time you're going to end up vaulting up higher on the list, right? But of course, that's not going to happen. So with that said, take these new teams, be happy with that you're still in 5th place because you were already in 5th place, and just look to build on that. Why are you mad? It is what it is. It's just unfortunate that you're doing this without Texas and Oklahoma, but you're getting you're getting in several up and coming programs, like we said, in Cincinnati, UCF, and Houston. Yeah. So
and
just go ahead and look toward the future.
And they have a national brand coming in BYU.
Yeah,
I'll give them that. It's not official yet, but if you read the reports, again, you see it's been reported today. It's official. They sent in their letter of application. If you believe, we both read the reports on the Big 12, the overtures they mailed to these 4 institutions. They're basically saying, just send the application, make it official, but we want
you. Yeah.
And I would say this too. I also was saying, and I was probably wrong on this part, but why would Cincinnati, Houston, and UCF leave to go to sink a ship? Because at the time, I thought the remaining Big 12 schools would look at the balance. You know what I'm saying? I thought the West Virginia, they still may want to go to the ACC. The ACC,
they still might.
I don't think the ACC wants them at this point, but it's still, if the ACC says to jump, West Virginia would go how high?
Yeah.
And I think that if the Pac-12 made overtures to Oklahoma State and TCU just getting the Southwest, I think they might. But if all things considered, I thought that you see those 4 teams in the American I thought that American Conference should have been aggressive towards if the remaining of the remaining Big 12 schools were to pull apart and leave only a handful left. I thought they should be the America should be aggressive and grab those schools. But I see why UC is doing what they're doing. I see why UCF is doing what they're doing. I see why Houston's doing it. And even though BOE doesn't need the money, I see why they're doing it. Money.
Yeah.
You know, because the American schools make $7 million per year. Okay. Like, say like for the sake of argument, if once they get accepted by the Big 12, they start playing next year. It's probably going to be 2 years from now, but let's just say for the sake of argument, they start next year, right? They're in line, and I know it's more mouths to feed, but they're going to be making double digits in the millions. They'll be making at least 15. If my North Carolina math proves me correctly, it's like what, 10 schools now. 2 would leave. 4 come in, so that there's a full 12.
Yeah.
So they'll probably make over 25 mil, maybe
Mhm.
30 mil still per school. So if you're UC, you're looking at a paycheck from going from paycheck for 7 mil to 30 mil. I get that. I get that. I was wrong on that. I will get that. I was just saying, I was thinking that the Big 12 was the sinking ship. I thought the team was going to say, fuck it. Let's look out for ourselves and bounce. But it's not looking that way. And so good for the Big 12 for doing what they had to do. I think
Mhm.
Bob Bowlesby taught those rating schools off the edge off the cliff for now. And they convinced the four strongest brands out there in the group of five to come in.
Yeah.
And to your point, in up and coming markets, budget markets, as we mentioned earlier, including national brand and BYU, I just wish that as a resident of Cincinnati, Ohio, I just wish that, and I hope that this takes place while Oklahoma and Texas is still in the Big 12. Because I would love to go watch Texas and Oklahoma here. I will love that. But in all likelihood, if they were to stick around that long, we probably only get one of those squads to come here.
Yeah, most definitely. Now, to your point, so I've been saying even throughout this entire situation of what's been going on with the Big 12, that everybody stop panicking, right?
Mhm.
And that included the Big 12. And now you said a few things that made me develop that theory a little bit more, right? You're already talking about programs in the Big 12 who with their TV deal was getting over 30 million annually, right?
Correct. Well over 30 million, yes.
Why would you leave that conference unless it just completely folded and go someplace where you're making under 10 million with the TV deals at those locations?
Sure.
That means those conferences would have to prove that now they're worthy, even with their additions. And you got to remember, those additions may not be enough to boost them back up to 30. At best, maybe 15, 20, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why don't I just stay here, wait it out, and be like a squatter? Don't leave until it's time for me to leave, right? And
Right.
see what happens. If we get back or anywhere close to what we once were, wonderful. If not, then it's time for us to go and we got to build up house someplace else.
Mm.
But yeah, that was the main reason why I kept saying, that's why no one needs to panic in the Big 12 right now. But
Right.
yeah, I don't see them having the money that they once had before with Texas and Oklahoma. But it'll still be good money.
This will be good money. I mean,
Yeah.
considering what they have left. But I would say this, again, if you're those American schools
Hmm.
that, again, the Big 12 did tap you on the shoulder, if you're facing the wall, and said, come on in, you have to be happy.
Yeah.
They have to be happy. Again, UC, University of Cincinnati, going from 7 mil to possibly 20 mil.
Hmm.
Even after Oklahoma and Texas leaves, they'll probably have around to go to possibly 20 mil. Even if they go from 30 some million until 2025 to 20 mil, that's still
Yeah.
$20 million. That's still a $20 million check that UC is getting.
Yeah.
And UCF is getting, and Houston is getting. So, and BYU too. So, yeah. So we'll see. To your point, we'll see. Again, your quote again. Let the pizza bake. Let the pizza bake, and we'll go from there. But this shit's far from over. It's far from
Most
over.
definitely far from over.
Far from over. So let's transition to our HB